Hi, it's Suzy Badaracco, President of Culinary Tides. We are a fractional foresight and trends intelligence team for the food and beverage and neighboring industries. This presentation is a condensed version of the full session I delivered at the IBIE conference in September of 2025. In this shortened format, I'll walk you through the key insights and takeaways we cover so you can quickly get up to speed on the trends that matter most. If you'd like access to the full deck, there will be a QR code at the end of the presentation where you can request a copy. Or if you want to learn more, feel free to reach out so we can keep the conversation going. And so let's begin with Culinary Horizons, Decoding Bakery Flavor Patterns for Tomorrow's Menu and Shelves. First, we're going to look a little bit behind the scenes of why consumers are behaving the way they're behaving and what's leading to their choices. So one size, of course, does not fit all because we want to tailor the choices to the generations. And so let's look at these four: Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, and Boomers. And we're going to look across flavor cravings, formats, and consumption style. So with Gen Z, you're looking at more bold, global, and mashups. Formats are more bite-sized, bold colors, definitely the first generation born into sustainability. And they, of course, want to be social media ready. Consumption style is they can snack all day, again, sustainability driven, value conscious, definitely because of where they are in their life. Millennials for flavors are more functional, nostalgic, but also botanicals and global comes into play. Formats, these guys do have families, so they're pre-portioned, multi-serve, convenience, but they also snack as meals. And consumption style is more leaning towards wellness snacking, value conscious, and absolutely family sharing. With Gen X for flavors, you've got nostalgia, authentic regional, heritage even, and definitely functional. With formats, you're looking at sustainable, clean label, premium, traditional. And consumption, multitasking, interactive prep, seasonal. With boomers for flavors, you've got kind of comfort with a twist, textural, lightly sweet and simple. Formats lean towards single serve, clear health messaging, definitely mini indulgences. And for consumption, you've got moderation, seasonal, and home rituals. Switching over to health drivers that stick, we're going to look at from hype to habit. Just like a corporation can have allies or adversaries, so can a segment of the industry, or so can trends themselves. So let's look at bakeries' allies. You've got fresh fruit, vegetables, cheese, whole grains and seeds, and global spices and condiments. Why is this? So with fresh fruit, you've got added natural sweetness, vitamins, hydration, which you usually don't think about, fiber, definitely colors and antioxidants. With vegetables, you're going to introduce savory elements here, enhancing nutrient density, absolutely fiber, and gives you a chance for an innovative twist. With cheeses, you all think about elevating the dish with creamy textures, rich flavors, but don't forget you're also providing a protein and calcium. With whole grains and seeds, you're going to be adding texture, boosting fiber, but also improving the nutrient content, and you are absolutely appealing to the health-conscious consumer. And with global spices and condiments, you're adding that global twist or introducing unique flavor profiles and definitely creating a sensory adventure. When we look at the flavor forecast, you want to understand behind why flavors are occurring. So bold flavors coming into life. Mintel is one among many that have seen that US consumers are actively looking for spicy or bold food and beverage. And in other presentations, I go a little more into depth as to why we are not in comfort food. But for this one, we're going to stick with tone and voice. So it's not just the flavor. So is the product aiming for waking up the senses with adding smoke or pickled items? Is it sour, like what is showing up in dressing, sauces, condiments that can accompany bakery? You might be looking for adventure, excitement through taste, or thrilling comfort. So comfort flavors, but with spice and heat. You could also look at wild, not mild, which is more complex heat. So heat is not the only voice, or the sweet fusion. So you've probably heard of Swicy, which is sweet and spicy, but she's got girlfriends. So there's swalty, swoky, and swangy. Swalty is sweet and salty, swoky, sweet and smoky, swangy, sweet and tangy. So for that, think of citrus or think of vinegars. You could also be aiming for heritage. So part of history, or nostalgia versus nostalgia. So if you think of comfort food as children's food, think of nostalgia as then tying food to a time and place in history, which is very different from comfort. Nostalgia is then taking nostalgia, putting a twist on it. You could also look at aiming for rewarding or even luxe, but affordable indulgences. And you also might be looking at experiential, so textural, something unexpected, or something visually engaging with either textures or colors. We're going to look at a set of specific seasonings or seasoning blends on an affinity scale. These are going to skew more savory for this slide. So the difference between high and low affinity, a high affinity item is easy to understand, very easy to access, approachable, affordable. If it's low affinity, it doesn't mean it's bad. It means it might be difficult to understand. It might be a newer trend on the block. It might have a higher cost or hard to access. So let's look at some of the high affinity ones. So you've got cumin, cardamom, ginger, rosemary, some of the flavored salts. You'll see a little bit towards the middle. You've got unique salts. It could be Korean barbecue, it could be jerk. And if you go a little mid or lower affinity, now you've got some of the ones that are a little more unusual or newer, like tamarind, black lime, salted egg yolk, some of the seasonings coming in from India or even Japan. So you really want to know who your consumer is, whether you want to play on the high end or the low end. But these diagrams are in motion. Our research is in motion. It's chaos analytics. So this will move as the year goes on. Let's look at the sweeter side of bakery, some flavors, format, and the future. How can it fit into a healthy lifestyle, which is what we're asked always? You want to highlight what's inside and what's not. So you want to use clear front of pack messaging or signal better for you quality at a glance. Elevating the ingredients. So you're featuring nutrient-dense ingredients and telling their health story to reinforce the value. With promoting portion and balance, marketing mini or snack size items as guilt-free treats or including them as just part of a balanced lifestyle. You also could lean into wellness-driven flavors, so using trendy health ingredients as signal nutrition without sacrificing taste. And you might want to bridge the indulgence gap, so creating hybrid messaging like decadence you can feel good about or sweet satisfaction with better for you benefits to invite without alienating. And some of the main drivers are portion control, balanced indulgence, ingredient awareness, functional meets flavor, emotional and social connection. And here's a couple ideas on the sweet spot. So some of the sweet bakeries. So you could go for a global sweet street. So consumers seeking cultural authenticity, culinary discovery, or visual novelty. So what's trending is some of the bakery items inspired by global flavors like mochi donuts, cardamom buns coming from Scandinavia, for example. Another idea is better for you indulgence. So why this matters. Indulgence without guilt satisfies evolving health conscious yet pleasure-driven consumers. Why is this trending? Health forward sweets with clean labels, reduced sugar, functional ingredients. So think of things like vegan brownies, protein packed banana bread, or even gluten-free muffins. And let's go the opposite. Let's look beyond the basket and look at some of the savory offerings. So in the full presentation, we go into more global ideas. For this deck, we're just going to look at one, and we're going to go off the beaten path a little bit and look at the Caribbean. So why do they love it? Sunny, vibrant flavors with cultural fusion, sweet and savory contrasts, tropical flair, and definitely fabulous spice combinations. So this is a good place for bakery partnering with deli. So jerk chicken patties and flaky pastry or sweet Johnny cake sliders. You could also do plantain and black bean empanadas or coconut bread sandwiches with spiced pulled pork and lime slaw. That's a really good example of an alliance. And let's navigate the future. So understand the emotional, psychological, and cultural forces shaping bakery choices, not just what's trending, but why is this occurring? From breakfast to center plate dishes, baked goods are moving beyond the basket. So lean into savory, global, and functional roles. And consumers seek discovery and adventure. So you can bake in excitement with international influences and spice-driven profiles. Better for You Bakery is not about sacrificing. It's about portion, purpose, and premium ingredients that still satisfy. And from us, know the birth and life cycle of a trend prior to deciding to enter it so you can predict how to navigate it. And as always, spend more time researching a trend's longevity and trajectory than worrying about what your competitors are doing. After all, they may be idiots. And here is that QR code. So that's a wrap. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like a full copy of the version of this presentation, just scan the QR code on the screen and it'll take you to a quick request form. And if you have any questions or just want to chat more about what we've covered, feel free to reach out using any of the contact information here because I would love to connect. Thanks so much.